Okay, we are back with another week edition of Touchdown, coming at you live-ish from Schwadorf, Austria. I'm your host, Joel Turpin. With me today is my co-host, David Aslan. And we're going to talk a little bit about the week's games from 13 and some of the upcoming Week 14 contests. We'll start it off with a Turkey Day celebration. Detroit winning at home for the first time in God knows how long. Crashing Green Bay's party 40-10.
Yeah, I think Detroit won the first time in 5 years. I think it was the last time they won on Thanksgiving. And they got a slow start. They were behind 10-0. Stratford made lots of mistakes in the first quarter, but they came back roaring in the second half. They stole that game. Goes to show you what a franchise player Aaron Rodgers is. I mean, Flynn being their fourth starting quarterback this year, he has the same line that everyone else does. And Green Bay has to say the least, a weak offensive line. They allowed 7 sacks, and one was for a safety by Sue towards the end of the game, which sort of didn't seal the game, but it certainly made a point.
Yeah.
But with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, he would have been more mobile, would have got around more. It's Detroit winning on Turkey Day is a sign of Armageddon.
Well, yeah, and of course they're one of two teams, them and Dallas, that play every year on Thanksgiving. Part of the reason that's so significant.
Remember, yes.
So yeah, classic matchup. Two teams that were still technically in the playoff race, although Green Bay's hopes are fading with every loss. Aaron Rodgers isn't back soon. It'll basically be over for them, and even if he comes back now, it may be too late. So
yeah, they'll finish. Well, they've got a tie.
Yeah, they've got a tie in there, but the NFC wild card isn't as wide open as the second wild card in the AFC, as we'll talk about. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. Anyway, another game that impacts that race quite a bit. Philadelphia just basically pipping Arizona 24-21, holding them off at the last second.
Barely, a narrow victory.
Looked like it was going to be
Philadelphia, which I thought it would be a little bit more lopsided than that.
Yeah.
The Cardinals came out to play.
Yeah, no, it looked like it was going to be easy at first. Philadelphia was cruising there early, but Arizona came back. And
the Cardinals won a 4-game winning streak until they went into Philadelphia.
It was a good match, and both of those teams would fall into the category of kind of dangerous teams if you end up facing them in the playoffs. That teams that are playing hard at the end and coming on strong, you have to worry about that sort of thing, especially too with just the amazing quarterback play that Philadelphia has gotten so far.
Yeah, has Foles thrown an interception?
He still has not thrown an interception. You got to wonder if he's just sitting there thinking, I can't throw an interception. I can just throw it anywhere.
He's not yet thrown when he has 1 billion touchdowns already with no interceptions.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Not to take away from Carson Palmer, had a very good game. Threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but also had 2 interceptions and a fumble. Turnovers will kill it for you, especially late in the game.
They definitely will.
Which proved to be the point on the game they played in Philadelphia this past week. Turnovers will kill you.
Yeah. No, I think, it's going to come down to the wire definitely in the NFC. It's looking now in the NFC East. Suddenly everybody's playing better and
Dallas won.
Exciting.
Dallas won. Dallas won this week.
Yep. So it's
also
getting interesting.
Started on a turnover, fumble recovery from Oakland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Dallas's to lose. I don't see.
Philadelphia's right there with them, man.
Philly is right there with them, and the Giants had new breath in their lungs.
It's going to be interesting. It's one thing about a division that's played mediocre all year. At this point, it's suddenly though very interesting as opposed to.
And Washington.
Yeah,
they're mathematically out of it, I'm sure.
I don't know because I read today that Houston's still mathematically in the playoff race at 2-10.
Okay.
They could make it at 6-10 in the AFC. So I'm not sure. Maybe they are.
You're kidding, man.
No.
Well, stranger things have happened in the NFL.
Yeah. All right. Up next, Denver and Kansas City, a game that was a shootout.
Yes.
A game with a lot of points, and it was actually a fairly exciting game and fun to watch if you were not a Chiefs fan. Actually, I had fun watching it too. It was a good game.
You watched the entire game?
Yeah, sure.
And as well. I could not understand the last play by Alex Smith. Needed just 4 yards for first down. They had plenty of time on the clock.
Yeah.
They had almost 3 minutes, I think,
Yeah.
left on the clock, which is in NFL is a lifetime.
There was enough time, definitely.
And why threw in a double coverage into the end zone to this guy, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. He was getting away with some of those passes during the day, and maybe he was beginning to think.
And I think Denver was waiting for that, maybe.
Yeah.
Denver played good defense. They played good defense.
I don't know. You give up 28 points to a Kansas City team that hasn't really been known for scoring.
Yeah, but Alex Smith is a first-string NFL quarterback.
He
has stayed healthy all year.
He is, and he played well, but I don't know that I would give much credit to Denver's defense. Kansas City hasn't scored 28 hardly all year, and certainly, one of those was on a touchdown return, for touchdown, but they almost scored another touchdown, in the first quarter. I think Denver's defense was just okay. It's still there. It's still their weak spot. It's still going to be an issue for them in the playoffs if they don't get a little better at it.
Well, the Chiefs are in it. They will probably make the playoffs. And the Chiefs are probably making a statement for 2014.
Yeah, it's looking better going forward. I mean, this is the first year with the new regime and the new head coach and general manager and stuff, and there hasn't been a lot of time to build much, but they're making a good statement for the future.
Yeah, and they're playing against Manning.
Yeah.
Chances are they will probably have to go through Denver to get to the Super Bowl.
Sure, yeah. That's an optimistic look, but yeah, I'm just worried, maybe we win that first round playoff game and go from there. Okay, after that, Monday night game, Seattle, New Orleans. A game that's
totally lopsided game.
Yeah.
I thought it would be closer than this. They play when Seattle plays at home. It is, I think, decibels. It's the loudest stadium in the NFL.
It is. The only competition was actually Arrowhead recently. So,
really?
Yeah.
And I think it's very loud to play in Seattle. And Seattle is similar to the Broncos or similar to the Patriots. At home, they are tough to beat. On the road, they're vulnerable, and they've shown they are vulnerable. And obviously, New Orleans plays better at home because they lost at Foxborough earlier this year.
Yep.
A much closer game. And I guess the score was just totally... I had to go back and read this twice. 40-7, I think, was the end of the score.
34-7.
Oh, my God. I mean, what happened there?
No, I know. It snowballed, and it is surprising. It's surprising because normally New Orleans, even in a bad matchup, on the road, still finds a way to put up 2 or 3 touchdowns and keeps it close. But there was nothing. They were pressing and they were not getting it done. And it does not bode well for them come playoff time if they have to make a return trip, which obviously they would.
These were the fewest points that New Orleans has put up since Sean Payton has been at the helm, and that's 2006. You're talking 6-7 years.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy, really. That's
all the best teams, even the best teams in the NFL, will have that off week, no matter who they're playing. Whether they're playing Seattle or they're playing the Cleveland Browns, they will have that off week. And maybe this was good that the Saints got their ass licked a little bit. maybe.
Other game,
but not to take away from Seattle. They looked like serious Super Bowl contenders if they have home field advantage.
True. One other game which had playoff implications I forgot to talk about on actual Thanksgiving Day was Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Now, despite their horrible start, had Pittsburgh won this game, they would actually be in the catbird seat for the AFC playoff run for that second wild card. They'd have the advantage over Baltimore due to head-to-head, and they'd be right in there. So it was a big game, but they didn't. Baltimore pulled it out at the end, and really, if you have to look at inside track to the playoffs as the second team right now, Baltimore's looking pretty good.
Against?
Well, the Jets, Miami, Pittsburgh, these are the teams that are contending for the second wild card in the AFC, and it's a pretty weak field overall.
And what about Cincinnati?
This season. Cincinnati should win the division.
Okay, they should win the division. Yeah, then it's probably Baltimore's, like you said, in the fabled catbird seat right now.
Yeah, and of course, not only do they have the advantage of just the basic, being ahead in the standings a little bit, but these are the defending Super Bowl champs. They know how to win. They're in the playoffs every year with Harbaugh as coach. So you got to think they know how to win better than a lot of these other teams do.
And it's a good psychological boost when you beat the Steelers.
It is.
No matter what the Steelers' record is. I mean, those two teams hate each other, and it's good when they swept the Steelers this year.
Yep. No. Because Pittsburgh won the first matchup,
Okay.
and that's why this one was so vital.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, Pittsburgh doesn't look well. They're sitting at 5-8 now, or something like this. I believe it is 5-8.
Okay. Well, that'll wrap up our discussion of last week's game. We'll take just a short little break here and come back and talk to you about the matchups for Week 14. And we are back. Ready to talk about the Week 14 matchups coming up. And we're going to kick it off with a good AFC matchup, possible playoff preview. Indianapolis at Cincinnati. A couple of teams that have, at various times in the season, looked like world beaters, and at other times, doormats. Just kind of depends. So, a tough one to call.
Yeah. I got to give this edge to Cincinnati. They must win this game. They need to stay ahead of the Ravens are nipping at their heels. This is one of those divisions like the NFC East. The wild card's up for grabs. And the Colts look vulnerable on the road. They don't play so well on the road. Andrew Luck is not in his bag at this when he plays on the road. And the Colts have also some injury problems as well. In Cincinnati, they came off a bye last week and came out and won strong against the Colts. Yeah, I think it's Cincinnati's to lose only because they're playing at home. If they're playing in Indianapolis, well, then maybe my opinion might be slightly different.
Yeah, Cincinnati actually beat San Diego last week, but yeah,
which is good.
Good for us. It's tough because, like you say, I mean, Indianapolis seems to play really well against the good teams. And then go to sleep against a team like the Rams, for example.
The Titans or something like
that.
But
at the same time, they have definitely seem to have fallen off a bit since their early season form, where they were beating San Francisco and Seattle and Denver and all these teams. And then here recently, it's more like they're struggling against everybody. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Cincinnati. They've been more consistent lately, and it's in Cincinnati, and they need the win more than Indianapolis does. I mean, that really Indianapolis virtually clinched the division by beating Tennessee last week. They've now got what's virtually a 3-game lead because they've got the head-to-head over Tennessee. So, I think it's going to be Cincinnati's win. It could be close. It could be a blowout, though. I wouldn't bet on this game if I had to.
Either. I mean, we're sitting here saying this when we come back next week, and the Colts won 42-10.
Exactly.
In Cincinnati.
A couple of teams that it's really hard to say for sure what you're gonna get.
But Dalton's maturing, let's say, as the season goes on a little bit.
Yeah, he's very.
He's got a decent core of receivers as well.
He's got. I think he's got really good receivers. Yeah. I mean, AJ Green is the only reason he's not the best receiver in the game is because Calvin Johnson's playing. Yeah. So yeah, he's got a heck of a series of people to throw to. Speaking of Megatron, the next game, Detroit at Philadelphia, big NFC playoff matchup possibly. The Eagles are right in there. They're in Philadelphia. They're right in there for the division or possibly the second wild card. Or Detroit.
Well, Detroit's in the driver's seat right now. They're in a comfortable position. They can afford the loss. They're playing in Philadelphia, hostile territory. Philadelphia fans, baseball, hockey, or football, they're just mean people. It's not the city your brother really loved. I see this being a close game. Just depends how Detroit comes out and play. I mean, if Stafford played like he did last week and throw 2 interceptions and fumbles in the first quarter, well, he's not playing a injured, riddled, quarterback-less Green Bay Packer team. He's actually playing a team Nick Foles who's shown all of a sudden came out of nowhere this year.
Yeah.
Who's the other quarterback for the Eagles? Help me quick.
Michael Vick?
No, Michael Vick, well, he'd be looking for another job next year. He might be even doing backup next year.
I think he's going to be looking at a backup or possibly some team that just needs a stopgap. I don't know. If they don't draft someone, like Cleveland or somebody that needs somebody for a spot starter kind of role. We'll see.
I don't see this game being as close as some people think. I think Philadelphia walks away with a comfortable victory. I think Detroit, they blew away Green Bay last week. They're still on cloud nine, but I think Detroit's looking ahead next couple of weeks and not really paying. Not to take anything away from the Eagles, but I think they're a little more concerned with the.
I agree. Actually, I think Philadelphia is going to come out strong at home. Foles has been incredible, and you see Detroit right now has a tendency to play on the edge, to throw some picks and turn the ball over a little bit, and I think that's going to be a death knell for them in Philly. And of course, this time of year the fans like to boo Santa Claus and throw batteries and things like that. So they like to ratchet it up a notch come Christmas time. So it could be ugly. After that, though, we've got an even more exciting matchup: Seattle at San Francisco. I mean, it's not for the division lead at this point, like we all assumed it would be, but these two teams really don't like each other,
and they actually hate to
despise each other. It's kind of a new thing. I don't think that hatred's been there for a long time, but at least for the last year since Pete Carroll's been there.
It's like the old Cowboys-Redskins rivalry a few years back.
They're getting rough.
This is a tough one to pick. It really is, and I know they're playing in San Francisco, and Seattle has shown they can be vulnerable when they play away. But for all my friends out there who are 49ers fans, I hate to put it to you, but I think Seattle loses this. I think Seattle wins this one in San Francisco. I just don't see the consistency with the 49ers. On again, off again.
I think if there's any game that the 49ers...
Kaepernick sometimes...
I think if there's any game that the 49ers really get up for, it's this week.
Yes.
And I think they're going to come out strong and hard. And it's another one of those where for me, I factor in this need to win thing.
Yeah, this is a big motivator.
San Francisco needs this game.
Yes,
Seattle doesn't, really. I mean, they were jostling with New Orleans for the top.
Carroll would just love
of course.
to roll.
He would. He'd love to, but it's still... it's still a thing, though. I mean, it's still a difference between, we'd love to beat these guys because we don't like them, and we absolutely need to win this game because San Francisco really could still fall out of the wild card spot completely.
Yes, of course.
They're that close to the edge, and they know that going in. Arizona's right there. You got. It looks like Carolina's going to take the first wild card spot, or New Orleans, one of those two. So they're fighting for the second wild card spot. You got the Eagles, you got Dallas, you got the Giants. I mean, you got a lot of teams that are right there, not far behind them all of a sudden. And so I think San Francisco will find a way to win this one. Seattle, although they'd like to win it, they just don't need it at all anymore. They've now just about locked up that first slot with that win against New Orleans.
Would you say, do you think they might just play? They must come in there.
I think they'll play okay, but with their tendencies on the road, I don't think they're going to play well enough to beat a motivated Niners squad. We'll see. That's the beauty of it. We don't have to wait long to find out.
No.
And then, of course, we got an evening game that's even more exciting. We just keep ratcheting it up a notch. Carolina and New Orleans. Two teams that are now tied atop the NFC South. And really, God, this one could go either way at this point.
Well, I'll disagree with that. I think Carolina's been on a roll. They've won 8 straight or something like this.
They have.
They look like the Chiefs of the second half of the season. Cam Newton is riding on cloud 9 right now. He's just
unstoppable.
But you are going into the Superdome, and you are playing in New Orleans, and you are playing a Drew Brees-led football team. And Sean Payton has probably looked at the tapes this past week.
Yeah.
After getting blown out in Seattle.
A motivated New Orleans team.
Very motivated New Orleans team. And I think there's been a close game, very close game. Till about the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then I see a turnover, so going to St. Louis, New Orleans' way, and then I see New Orleans pulling this off, probably by double digits pulling this one out. I just don't see Carolina being in all 4 quarters. Saying that, I'm going to be sitting here next week saying, okay, well, I was wrong.
I think it's going to be a very close game. Yeah. I think New Orleans will win at home because, if nothing else, because it is in New Orleans, and because this loss is going to motivate them, and they're going to be, it's tough to win 9 games in a row in the NFL. Yes. At some point you've got to take a breather, and this is the worst possible week to do it. I don't think Carolina's going to take the game lightly. I don't think they're going to roll over, but I do think they're going to not quite have enough in the tank to win in New Orleans. Primetime game.
It's just how good Carolina secondary can defend the receivers for New Orleans. Because Drew Brees is right up there. He's a top-notch, all-star quarterback.
I see 24-21, 21-17. Something low-scoring and close. Yeah, I think if the scoring gets up there, then New Orleans, they might win it by double digits, because then suddenly they're the team that's going to pull away. I think it's going to be low-scoring and it's going to be close.
Yeah, I think the Saints going to come out shooting.
Okay. I guess we got time for one more, and then we'll do a pick 'em for the last round of games. Let's talk real quick about Dallas at Chicago on Monday night.
Both teams need to win.
Yep.
Chicago really, really needs this win, and Dallas really, really, really needs this win. Detroit, we talked about going into Philadelphia, so they can afford the loss.
Yep.
Philadelphia cannot afford to lose. Dallas cannot afford to lose in Chicago. This one's you can flip a coin on this one if you ask me. It just depends if Romo is...
September Romo or December Romo.
Yeah, exactly. It's December Romo, and history will prove they'll choke. They'll choke. No matter who they play. They could be playing Tampa Bay in Jacksonville. It doesn't matter.
Let me check. Hang on just real quick. I'm going to check. Yep, December the 8th. Okay, he's going to be December Romo. I'm going with Chicago.
Will be December Romo.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to go with Chicago.
Tough, I'm only because of Romo and Dallas's history, and they're not playing in Dallas, and it is cold in Soldier Field in December.
It is. And I know it's tough, and it's not fair to pile on a guy who's had issues in the past, but at the same time,
if the shoe fits.
Yeah, if the shoe fits, show me.
Yeah.
Win a game in December. Win a game that matters in December, and then we'll have to shut up about it.
Exactly. But
until then,
the last 4 years.
It's been a long time, and there's a lot of history that you can draw on to show this, and maybe you show that his overall quarterback rating was okay then or whatever, but he always comes up in the low end of the game, and it always seems to be at least partially attributable to him. So I'm going to go with Chicago until proven different.
And so I agree with you 100%.
Okay, for the last round of games, we're just going to pick the winners and losers and avoid any commentary unless you just absolutely can't keep your mouth shut, which could be a problem. Buffalo at Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay?
Tampa Bay. Kansas City at Washington.
Ooh, it's closer than you think, but I'm going to have to give it to Kansas City.
Kansas City, please. We need this win. Get back on track.
Yes.
Miami at Pittsburgh.
Ooh, also a tough pick. Miami needs it more, probably, but I'm going to have to go with the Steelers.
I'm going with the Steelers, too. This is getting worrisome. Minnesota at Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Tennessee at Denver.
Denver? I'm going to go out on the limb.
The Broncos. Yes. Yeah, this is why we aren't talking about these games in any great in-depth fashion. Well,
those are the you'll understand.
St. Louis at Arizona.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is tougher than you think. It's a tough one.
Yeah. I'll call this one Arizona.
It's a tough one, but without talking about it, Arizona. The Giants at San Diego.
Boy, there's another tough one.
That's an actual tough one.
That's an actual tough one. Eli Manning has all of us in the last couple of weeks. He's back in stride.
Manning, yeah.
But I got to give it to San Diego, playing at home.
I'll go with the Giants to have a split. We got to have something. Go with the Giants. What the heck? Atlanta at Green Bay. Somebody's got to win. Actually, no. Green Bay's proven you don't have to win. Somebody's got to win, or we can call a tie here.
Atlanta's the disappointment of the year. I'll have to go with Green Bay playing at home.
I'm going to call for the tie. I think Green Bay finds a way to tie it again. Let's get another get another tie on the board. When's the last time a team ended with blank, blank, and 2? It's probably been a while.
Yes. Outside the NHL.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. So I'm calling for the tie. Cleveland at New England.
Got to give it to New England. You're playing in Foxborough next.
Yeah, Patriots. The last one, and another tough one, I think, Oakland at the New York Jets.
Boy. Well, Oakland has kind of faded in the last couple of weeks, and the Jets
have to.
You got to give it to the Jets.
Yeah, I think Rex finds a way to squeeze another win out of this season and make sure that he's around for another year.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this week's session. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll be back again next week where we might even be in new digs. Who knows? We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Have a nice